Hi, this is Stefana, and you are watching Take Your Business Center Stage. This is an information and Q&A session for my group mastermind coaching program that I'm doing for Take Your Business Center Stage and have more clients and cash flow. So I welcome you, and I'm going to get this party started. First, I'd like to clarify two key components to what I do as a coach. And that is, when I say get your business center stage, I am not talking about you having to step up on some stage and sing your song. I am speaking about stepping into your power, stepping into your voice, your unique gifts, your unique talents, your unique message, and expressing it to your audience. Your audience may be a small group. Your audience may be your local community. Your audience may be 10 million people. So everyone's audience is different, and that is something that we define in your process. If you already know who your audience is and what they will listen to and how your message is best suited for them, then hopefully you're doing it. If you're not, then that's why you're probably here. So center stage is my term that I use because I have a background in acting, and that is something that I love. I'm very passionate about dramatizing, and I don't mean in the saga way, but I mean expressing and living truthfully in imaginary circumstances. This is something that I've enjoyed since I was a wee little one. I think my mom said when I was 2, I said I was going to be an actor. And that is something that lives and breathes in me, of being able to put on a different persona, a different wig or hairpiece and makeup, and one day be an old scary hag as I tell a story to my boys, or the next day be a princess. But ultimately, I always know who I am at my core. And as I speak in that manner, I have the understanding of what it feels like to feel like a fraud. And here's what I've discovered about this concept around the imposter syndrome, this concept around being a fraud, is so much about losing sight of your own unique voice, your own ability to be you. And in discovering that for yourself and recognizing who you are as an individual, as a unique and sovereign and divinely guided being that you are, you have that voice and you have that right innately to express your unique song, your soul's song. And when you do not, and you're doing something else, I feel that that's when the fraud comes up, the imposter syndrome comes up, because you know somewhere you have given up your truth. And for me, stepping into your center stage, stepping on your stage, is stepping into your truth and claiming that power that we relinquished. Oftentimes it's when we're children, unless we've been raised where we get to express our truth and we're told, here, you know, what is it you love? What is it you love? Because believe me, if you love it and it's in you, that's your truth. You can't squash that and suppress it. So whatever it is, if you love it and it lives and breathes in you, that's your truth. And there is a way to make that be something that you can monetize as a business. It's not necessarily something that you have to, but you can choose to, and there is always a way. We don't often get that as children. We don't often get that full support of being helped to discover and cultivate those talents and skills and what our message is here to bring. So now we have to do that. As we get older, we've either forgotten it completely, it's been buried, or we've known it's been there, but we haven't known how to cultivate that. cultivate those skills, cultivate those talents, and bring them into something that is fulfilling for us in our lives, in our careers, in our what we are meant to do here. And that is what I'm talking about when I say get your business on center stage, because your business is your life. Your life is your business. So whether you're having a successful, your business may be being a mother. For me, my business was taking care of my children and raising my infants and my boys. I wanted to be with them. And so for about 4 years, I took time off from every other business that I had going on, and I focused on the most meaningful business at hand, which was raising my infants, my toddlers and my boys, and that was my business. And I had my nose in my business for that time. And now my capacity has expanded, so I can keep my business of my babies going and raising them, and they have been empowered to take on a little bit more of the business. And that's why I am now enabled to coach others and help them get their business going and get into their own business, meaning step into that place of leading their own life and expressing their voice in an authentic way. So let me give you the other piece of that, and that is mastermind. So there's a lot of masterminds out there, and I've been in many masterminds. And quite frankly, I think there's a bit of a confusion and a misunderstanding around the original thought and belief of what a mastermind is. There's so many different offshoots of what a mastermind is. But the way I was trained was originally in a Unity church, and I was training as part of my ministry as a reverend to apply what mastermind really comes from, and that it's a biblical type of concept, and it really has to do with cultivating the collective of higher vibration coming into such alignment and such agreement with an imagined creation that it becomes reality. It becomes what we see. So without getting completely esoteric on you, the thing that it is with me and my group is that when we get together specifically for our mastermind call, so I don't take on more than 6 people in my group because I need to have each member of the mastermind have their own time to, well, they come prepared, and to step into a place where they are articulating their creation from their imagination, which their imagination is their source of creation. And it is where all of our ideas come from. And then the rest of the group magnifies that by affirming it together. And the results are quite astonishing. So is it kind of metaphysical? Yeah, absolutely it is. And so you're going to know that that's part of who I am. That's part of how I coach. And I teach that. And part of what we do in this group program for the 10 weeks that we are together is we are immersed in this understanding of who we really are and this awareness of who we really are. So there's no room for faking it. There's no room for pretending. There is room for you stepping fully into that place and being from that place. And sometimes that requires all of us holding you in that space. But we can know that for you. I can know that for you. And as you get stronger, you can know that for me and for others in the group. And that's what makes a very powerful mastermind. So let me go through the modules that we'll be covering. So the first module we'll go through, and by the way, there are 16 in total. over the 10-week period of time, 4 of which will be specific Q&A calls where it's just nothing but you getting your questions answered. The next, so that will be interwoven within the 16 modules altogether. So the very first one we will do will be a mastermind mindset. You'll get the tools that you need in order to have a fully connected, fully present, with intention, and the ability to not only observe what it is that's going on with you, but to understand that whatever may be going on that feels like a barrier, we're going to get through it. And so you're going to get all those tools in the first module, and that is a vital module. And what I'm going to say right off now is this is not for everybody. This is definitely not something that is for somebody who just wants to look and see. And in fact, before I take on anyone in this group, I'm going to have a private conversation with you. Just a few minutes, we're going to get on the phone and we're going to actually talk person to person, and because I want this group, and I'm really going to handpick this group. As you can see, this is a very important type of thing. This isn't like a mass production. This is a very intimate, focused group. And what comes out of this will be miracles. You'll see this, you'll feel this, you'll know this. And for me, that's very exciting, because that's what I'm here to do, is help create those miracles from the unique voice that you have, from my unique voice, and to express that. Because when we express our truth, not only are we giving permission to others to express their truth, their unique song, we are giving our gifts to the recipients who are in need of that. All right? So anytime that we express ourselves in a way of our truth, there will always be a counter to that balances our energy. It's the way this universe is built. And we can see the result of not expressing our truth. In fact, expressing so many lies and incongruencies with our integrity as a result of the chaos that you look around and see in our culture, in our environment. But those that know that what we create starts within, you recognize the power that we have, and to step into a group like this and be validated for your truth and validate each other's truth is powerful. And for me, that's the truth of a mastermind. That is a true mastermind, in fact. All right, so the second module, we go over basics of business, specifically basics. The areas that I will be covering are specifically from my PDF handout. If you have not gotten it, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. This handout is a free PDF download from my website. You can grab it anytime. I highly recommend you do it. I will be using the workbook that I take my clients through, and you will be receiving that workbook. This essentially is the map of it. So as you can see here, we've got your message, talents, gifts. Your message, if you don't know what it is, if you're not 100% clear on your talents and your gifts, that's okay. This is where we will clarify it. And if you are, this is where we will crystal clarify it. You will have absolute clarity around your message, what your talents are and how they can best be expressed and utilized, and in what forms. Your gifts, your skills, we're going to bring all of that together. Now you add with that these 4 keys, that the verbal, the visual, the written, and the identity, which I'll break down in the module. But you add those, in your communication, because everything comes down to communicating your talents, message, gifts, skills in such a way that it reaches your ideal audience, your specific target audience. And as a result, and what I will look for is the more clients and cash flow. So at the very beginning, we're going to have graphs, and we are going to look at statistics, and we are going to see at the beginning, day one or prior to starting this mastermind, what is your exact client base? How many do you have? How many are active? What is your cash flow? And we are going to chart that day by day, and we are going to see the correlation between your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, and what happens in your clients and cash flow, because those are the key areas that I will be graphing for myself and for you. Those are tangible results we can see. The non-tangible, it's okay, these are things that we can't necessarily graph, but I bet you will find that, let's say if we were able to graph them, we could say percentage of time you are in a state of create versus competition, percentage of time that you are living from your authentic voice, percentage of time. So we'll try, obviously, to get towards that 90 to 100%. Now, we're human beings, so quite frankly, getting to 100% would be pretty close to perfection. I think that, you know, those times can happen. Certainly, if you start practicing what I teach, which is, I absolutely believe that taking time to meditate. And meditate, well, I'm sure there's things that we need to clarify around that, but that is really getting quiet and getting connected to your divine, your source. That piece right there, having that in a given day is highly valuable. And also having the accountability with your group to know that, yeah, I have this group who's supporting me in this, and this is something that's important to me, to take this time right now and to sit down and just get into that space of intentional presence. All right, so the third, let me switch back over here really quickly. You know, before I go on, let me just show you. So as I was talking about the visual, verbal, written, and identity, so part of each module that we will go through the areas of all of your written. How is your message getting out there? And are you utilizing to the best of your ability your PR, your blog, your articles, social media, and are those the best use of your time? And we'll look at all of that and implement specific strategies so that you are effective in your use of your time, as well as these marketing pieces such as using a blog or articles or social media or public relations, and how you can best utilize these. So identity, we're going to go over pieces of these that are really important. Your photo, your brand, how you speak, how you're showing up. Those are key areas that we're going to cover. Certainly verbal. And then, of course, the visual. And if you haven't already gotten your own YouTube channel, your own Google Hangouts ability, different areas, we're going to get all of this set up, because these are, while they are not absolutely necessary to your success, they will enhance your success. So I will take you through those as key modules when we go back to, I'm just going to cancel this. So when we go through those are components that I want you to have. And you'll see, and we can actually, again, graphing and knowing how many clients, Do we have more or less clients? How's the cash flow? And we're going to be able to graph that, because you want to know what's working, and you want to reinforce what's working, and you want to release and let go of what's not working. And you want to get the support on the areas that you need help in. So if you are not great at writing, but you're great at speaking, and you can take someone else's written material and speak it, then we work that out, and we go into what I call an idea party. So let me give you an example. One of the modules that we will be doing, we'll probably end up doing about 4 of those as well. This is similar to the mastermind, but it is more that the person will come on, one person in the group will come on with their idea. Now they have come up with this idea for themselves, and let's see if I can give you, I'll give you an example as we go through here, but the idea that someone will come up with is, as we've gone through some of the modules on what has been living in them, and they've always dreamed of having or doing this specific thing. They've just dreamed of being on Dancing with the Stars. And we get on our call. It's going to be a Google Hangout, and I call it an idea party. And with the group there, the person is going to express what their idea is, and with no stops, or I don't know how. It's like, look, I would just love to be on Dancing with the Stars. And the next thing we're going to do is have each person say, oh my gosh, my neighbor is the casting director for Dancing with the Stars. You see how that works? Now I'm giving you kind of a crude example, but idea parties are brilliant. I've used them for a very long time. There's something it's so much fun for me. And because there's this concept of the 6 degrees of separation, somebody always knows something, and when you get together enough like-minded and focused, high-powered, and when I say power, remember what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about that authentic power, that power that is that high vibration, that is that vibration that is outside this the general think of mankind right now. This is where you step out of that box and you start coming from that place of congruent truth of who you are authentically. Okay, we've come so far. We know we're not just these meat puppets. All right, we're creating with every thought. We're creating our lives. All right, you just look in the mirror. You look around, and you want to know what you've been thinking about. You look around, and you can see it. And if you're thinking crappy thoughts, your life is probably looking pretty crappy. And if you're thinking great thoughts and wonderful thoughts, now it may be a delay because you're probably still seeing the crappy thoughts you've been thinking for the last week or the last month or the last year, the last 10 years or 15 years or 50 years. So it's going to take a little bit of time to catch up there, but it will. And one of the great things and the power behind this mastermind group is that we can propel that very quickly because your vibration can get there instantly. All right, so let's go back to that idea party. That idea party is a really great concept, and it's very workable. I can't wait. I mean, honestly, it's almost it gets me so excited. It's like a big surprise. We never know what's going to happen, but we know something amazing is going to happen in the idea parties, and that's really cool. The other key component that I'll be working on is the actual getting of clients. And we're going to work on a 40-day, yes, 40 days. So within that 10-week period of time, there will be very small little actions that we will be taking for a consistent 40 days to get us momentum in getting booked, getting ourselves booked solid, getting the clients and the amount of clients that we want. Now, as I said that, my perception was that there's some resistance there of, wait a minute, getting all the clients that I want, being booked solid, I don't know if I can experience that. And that's why the mindset comes first. The very first module we do will be addressing all of those barriers and the fear that comes up. And the fear is a good thing. So I don't want you to be afraid and like, oh no, she's going to call me out because I have fear. No, that's a good thing. That's telling us that there's something there. If you had no fear, if you had no feeling or a little bit of just nothing going on where's the life? So I don't want you to be afraid of fear. It's okay. All right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Is that what they say? All right. So the next one is, okay, so we're going simultaneously with also the cash flow. So I told you about the statistics. We're going to continue with that. That will be going on simultaneously. Does this sound like a lot of work already? You can get this done in such a short amount of time because you are focused. You won't be running around trying to figure out what you should be doing next. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to do next. You're going to get it done. And if you get it done, you'll go to the next thing and get that done. All right? So the difference of working in a group like this and a program is that I'm not going to hold your hand every step of the way. You're going to have to be your engine and moving forward and piloting your way through this. I'm going to give you the course, and we're going to get that target set, and you're going to take off, and you're going to fly that plane on your own. When you coach with me privately, well, I'm right there in the cockpit with you. For this one, you know, there's this group coaching program. It is meant for you and for those that really are more self-starters and can do it on their own and can get going and don't need hand-holding to do this. That's why I'm offering this as just a year-end wrap-up, because it is really tremendous to have this as a gift to yourself and to your business. Let me give you the last two pieces of this, and I'll open it up for questions. So we've got through the statistics. The 9 is the idea party again. We'll be continuing to do idea parties. Then we go through another mastermind. As I was saying before, the work and the analogy that I use is having a stage. Not that you have to step on center stage, because I want to make sure we're not hitting up against any fear of you stepping out there and being in front of the spotlights. Okay, I get that can be scary for some, and I've heard some get a little turned off because I'm saying center stage and, oh, you want me to get up? I don't want to be in front of the spotlights. Like, okay, let's just talk what we're talking about here. I'm talking about your space and getting on that, but I'm going to use the analogy of the stage because I love that, and that's natural to me. So we're going to look at, from this viewpoint, that you have a stage that may need to be built. Perhaps you have stage hands. You can help build your stage. You've got to have a ticket master and a tickets booth, and you've got to have tickets to sell. That's where you're taking the money from your audience who's going to sit in your seats. You got to fill your seats, right? That's how we're going to get the cash flow and the clients. But you have to know what your talents are so that you're going to get up on the stage and express whatever it is that you're going to express so that your audience can express their appreciation in money, in accolades, in appreciation. All right? So I'll be using that throughout the whole program of taking your business center stage. I'm going to use that whole picture. You're going to get the handout that I use, which is a blank stage. It shows from the beginning to the end of having a sold-out show, and we debug any areas that come up of, oh no, we've lost a key player. We don't have the script. We're doing 3 different scripts and we're totally confused. What play are we doing? You know, so we get all of this straightened out. What is your message? What is it you're here to speak about? What is your gift? What is it that the audience will pay for, and how are you going to fill those seats? And we go through and make sure everything is getting to a capacity. But as I say that, we're doing it on gradient steps. So we're not stepping you up and throwing you out in the deep end. We're taking the little steps one step at a time. And we're getting good at those so that we build confidence. That's how we build confidence. And you want to lose confidence really quickly, you jump into the deep end. Or you bite off more than you can chew, or you take 3 steps instead of that one. You're going to find yourself tripping and falling on your face. So it's okay to take that breath. Take that step, get your footing, and get confident. That's how you're going to build that confidence. And once you do that, then take the next step, then take the next step, and that builds more and more confidence. And that's really exciting to experience and to feel for yourself and to know, because then you start owning this, and then you start embodying who you are and expressing your message. And guess what? People will pay you even more because they feel and they resonate with your truth. And when you start fully stepping into that, you will start attracting even more closely honed your ideal clients. I have found over and over again, if you want to know who your ideal client is, go look in the mirror. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because we covered that in the coaching and the mastermind. It's a big piece. All right, so let's see where we're at. Yeah, and then a couple of other pieces I kind of went over. We don't want to close early, so we don't want to give up too early. We don't want our show to close before we're ready. We want it to get to our audience. Let me see what else I have here. I was talking about getting the show on the road. Yeah, so let's get the show on the road. Let's knock off all the other noise that can be going on, all the doubts and the fears, and use them as a message from. I like this idea. When somebody gets a telegram, it's almost like, oh, we've seen, whether we've seen it in movies or maybe if you have never received a telegram or experienced getting that one letter or having someone come to your door, and you just feel that fear, and you don't want to have, you just shut down. Okay, this is a piece that's huge, and I want to give this to you as a piece to use now, whether you work with me or not. Fear like that, resistance like that, is a beautiful gift. Now, in the moment, it may not feel like that, but if you can look at it as like this, so let's just look at this. If you can look at it as an envelope from the universe, and you're just going to open it up and look inside, and basically it's a letter telling you, you got something here to look at, and that's all. You can put it away, you can file it away for later, you can burn it in the fire even, but it's like Harry Potter, and the owl keeps delivering Harry's letters, over and over and over again on. Because Harry Potter's so big. If you don't know this, it's a great little movie, but he's 11 and he's just gotten his birthday, he's gotten his invitation to go to Hogwarts. And, the uncle, they're trying to get rid of it, and they're trying to put it away, and Harry's just like, what? It's a letter for me? He wants it. He has no fear, but there's so much resistance going on, and they go to the island, but it just keeps coming. And if you could look at it as that and almost lighten up and laugh when the fear comes in. And fear, we could name anything. I was talking to my girlfriend today, and I can't wait to talk to you, Moni, but about something that came up for me around a situation, and I felt nausea, and I thought, I just don't want to deal with it. And my girlfriend came back to me and said, I think you need to lean into it. And she was so right. Because sometimes we just need to lean into that fear. We need to open up that letter and look at it and observe it without that place of judgment, or that we're really, all the other stuff that comes in. And so again, that's why the first module that we do is so key to everything else we do. And it really helps to move our capacity to be able to have that compassion for ourselves, so that we can lean into that fear, or lean into that distress and what's going on, and be able to recognize it for what it is, and move on to the next step, to break through that. And breakthrough is a little bit harsh because I'm not talking about plowing through. Sometimes we need to be a little bit softer and subtle when we shift. And that's okay, you know? But sometimes we need to get tough and fight back. And we can do that too. All right, so yeah. So the last thing that I was going to say is if you knew that you could not fail, what would you do? So that's what this is about. If you knew that you could not fail, what would you do? Who would you be? So that's the question I'll leave you with as I open it up. Moni, you want to open your mic up, and I'm going to bring you in, and we'll see if there's any other questions. You can come on. I know you muted yourself out, but I want to hear you, even if it's noisy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's great. Do you have questions?
Well, I could. I think it's really interesting that I had some thoughts while you were going over these things, and I thought of questions, and then you immediately, it's like you were reading my mind.
Good.
You responded to some things, but one of those was the one that comes to mind the most clearly is when you're talking about getting completely booked.
Yes.
Because I feel overwhelmed with running my business and doing the other projects that I'm working on and writing the book that I'm writing, taking care of the children, taking care of the house, homeschooling. And so that was a little bit threatening to me because I feel right now that I'm already booked to the top. But I would like to see more clients now because it's, you know, some years ago, just like you said before, at some point your children became your business. Right. And that also happened to me. At some point they needed me to be with them more. And so I continued to have my business, but I was definitely devoting more time and energy to the children. But now they're 11 and 8, and so they are more able to be without me for, well, how would I say it, for more client visits per week. And so at the same time, I'm feeling this desire to see more clients, but I am wondering how that's going to affect our family life.
Okay.
Because it is true. For example, today I saw a client, and I didn't eat well, and my family, they did eat well because I had the precaution of leaving food for them, but they ended up having dinner almost 2 hours later. So I do see that it is real that when I go out to work, because I also do a lot of things long distance. For example, right now I'm going to be working with a group of ladies from Malaysia who have a Montessori school, and that does not interfere with my family life because I can work on that. Since it's all digital, I can work on that after the children go to sleep or when they go to their activities. And but talking about getting booked in locally, that there is a reality that does upset my family life.
Okay.
So I guess that's where the resistance comes from.
Yeah, I felt that instantly.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, let me tell you, and this hopefully will answer for everyone. Each individual has their own reality of what it means to be successful. And the tangible results of more clients and more cash flow is something that we can measure. It's a very simple thing to measure. But I also feel, and as I was talking about percentage of being in that, let's say having your areas and parts of your life aligned, I'm very very much an advocate of having alignment across the areas of your life, your business, because I believe how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're doing one thing in a way that is incongruent with your integrity, it is very likely that it's showing up elsewhere. It may not be showing up instantaneously, but just as you said today, you experienced the backlash of being incongruent somewhere. Probably if we went and analyzed it a little bit, we could probably see a couple days before something had happened that shifted the energy to result in today having a bit of a breakdown in the dynamic of your life, in the creating of your ideal life.
Well, that
only you can create.
I can tell you right away what happened. I should have started planning a couple of days ahead, and I didn't. So I ended up going to bed late last night as I was preparing for today. And this morning I was sleepy as I was preparing to leave the house. And one thing that happened is that I did not take my lunch with me. I prepared my lunch, but I didn't take it with me. So I ended up snacking instead of eating. And so that was like a chain of events that I don't want to go into detail, but that is what caused my chain of events, why my family ended up having dinner later.
So we can look at going deeper and looking at, well, what made you forget? But that may not have any purpose in what we're doing.
Probably because I was sleepy. See, so if I had started planning for this 2 days ago,
right,
and I would have had my things in place, I could have gone to sleep at usual time instead of an hour and a half later.
Okay.
And because I know myself, I'm not as present when I haven't slept well. So that was the one thing. As I was speaking to you, I thought that maybe it's more aligned with my integrity to get long distance clients than it is to get local clients. That's the one thing, that's one thing that I could probably explore. But the other thing is that I felt today with a client who I really like. I had a wonderful time working with this client, but at the same time, I feel like I could have done the same thing in half the time. And so what's happening with me is that I want to bond with the client. I want my clients to be able to trust me, and I want them to open up, because if they don't open up, I can't help them as well. But I don't have scripts and strategies for shortening those periods of sharing and getting more to work, because I ended up spending there over 2 hours, and I could have done it in no more than an hour and a half.
Okay, you answered a lot of your situation right here. So scripts, systems, and so this is great. One of the things about what you're talking about is you're essentially doing an evaluation of the day, and you're seeing that my ideal day, or this is, you have an idea, you have a vision of what you'd like your business to be, your life and your family. And then you can see the departures from that. And you can recognize that there are departures enough to even pinpoint what you can do, so that next time you are prepared with a system or with a checklist or with a script that you can use. And so great, you've just solved quite a bit. Now you can add that maybe to your list of projects, make it a small project and do that, so that you can streamline what your intentions are. And then also it sounded like you recognized that what you really want may not be to have local clients, and that is your business model. So you want, and I know that we've been talking about this for a while, is that your business model may actually shift, and that's okay, and those are all parts of that. I do have a checklist that I'm going to send you so that you can look at how to balance your priorities, especially, if money or if income is a key priority and makes you choose whether or not you're going to do something in a certain way. understanding that going in. So for example, one of the things that we go over is business, is the difference between giving away our power, over delivering, for example, undercharging, for example, and as a result, we don't have the resources that we need to not only take care of our business, but to deliver the products and services that we have, you see, and then also to expand, because ultimately as a business we would be wanting to expand and grow, right? I mean, for whatever the perpetuation of the business would be. Let's see, what else did I have to say? You pretty much answered your own things. And as far as what comes up around that, I think that it's not so much the business, the getting the clients, it's creating, like backing up a step and deciding how do you really want it to look like. Do you have, and maybe you can relook at what it is your ideal vision is for your business. And you know, there's a structure that we live in as physical people, as human beings, with 24 hours in a day, etc. So perhaps at some point you can look at expanding not only, you know, your business, because I know your business model, and I know that you could actually have other people under you doing things, but that's something that we would talk about more privately, Moni. Do you have any other questions?
Well, you know, there are, in terms of that, right now I am doing a number of things that only I can do. I am writing my book, my fifth book on feng shui, and I'm also creating the course that goes with it at the same time. And these are things nobody can do for me. So I know that when these things are finished, that I will be able to delegate more. But I think that, you know, what you mentioned about the limitations of the day. The day has so many hours, and
Right.
the activities we do are also, you know, they have a requirement. They don't just they don't just expand time because they seem important to us. And I think that is vital to having a balanced life and still be able to have a business and have a family.
Right, and one of the key areas that I talk about in the book, Finding Joy Beyond Trauma, in my book there, and this is a module that we will go over, is releasing what is not essential, what is not working, what is not effective, what is not, and this is in terms of thoughts and beliefs, as well as actions, as well as stuff, as well as people, energy. You know, and reinforcing what is working. And I am a big proponent of the power of simplicity. I think that, especially in families and children, you know me, I'm all about simplicity, and
Mm-hmm.
and when you get very clear on what it is you value, and usually it's only 4 or 5 key things if you really hone it down, what you value most in your life, you can really refine who you are as a person, how you're living your life, how you're going about your business, and really coming to a place that that you are so clear on what actions you're taking, that every thought, every action is feeding those values, is feeding and is congruent with that place of integrity within yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
When I say get your business on center stage, what does that feel like to you?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask, what does that look? That would be easier.
Yeah.
Let me talk a little bit what it would look like. I would
Okay.
like to be the first name that comes to mind when people are thinking of training to become feng shui consultants. And so what that feels like, it feels like a tremendous responsibility.
Mm.
And um, it feels like I would need help, like maybe an assistant. It feels like empowering in a way, empowering in the sense that I know that people could be better practitioners by learning my 9 steps to feng shui system than any other training that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds very full of myself, but
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
it is the truth because I have seen the evidence.
Okay.
So I have this, and I have gone through a process because I have doubted myself, but I have had plenty of indications because a number of people who follow me on my newsletter and on social media are feng shui consultants that have trained with other people, and they do not do not have the tools. And I'm not going to compare themselves to me, but they don't have the tools that the people that I have trained have. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have the security that the people that I have trained have. And so I can, but at the same time, it also feels distant. It also feels like maybe, I don't know, years in the future for that.
Okay. So let me just this is a big coaching point, and it's a great illustration to see, and why I asked you about the feel, but I'm so glad you said what it's easier to say what it looks like, because you're a visual person and you see what you described, what you wanted in your vision.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you went into the feeling of it, there was a very thick, dense wall from where you are to getting to center stage. And so that's the gap that we're going through. That's the gap that I work with.
Yeah, and there
That.
is one thing that I do feel, and that I feel it very clearly when I think of the stage, not as a metaphor, but of an actual stage. That that is very easy for me to get on the stage because I enjoy public speaking, which I know would not be like that for a lot of people. And but for like people have the 5 fears, and public speaking is one of the 5 fears, and I probably have all of the others, but I don't have the fear of public speaking. So that feels good. The thought of me getting on a stage, that feels good.
Great.
And talking to large numbers of people.
Okay, great. But you did answer my question perfectly, and so anyone listening to this and seeing it or hearing it in the future, you're going to get the concept that that place of center stage for you, what that vision is, what that ideal moment is, what that expression of your truth is one thing, and that's something that you can articulate. And then all the other stuff of where you are and the how, we don't necessarily focus so much on in terms of, essentially we're going to be doing some shoveling ideas of beliefs, and it comes back down to that releasing the ideas, releasing the beliefs, and really honing in on your values and in your integrity, and getting so clear that what you know you want, what you desire, and the feeling of experiencing that and it being something that is congruent to your idea of what it feels like to be center stage, that they're so congruent that is what's going to happen first to bridge that gap. And then the work that we'll be doing, the actions that we will be taking, will be utilizing my 4 pillars of communication, and that's doing all of the specifics that we need to do, the action steps that we will be doing of getting those systems in place. Moni, for you specifically, it would be getting those pieces in place. What you were describing, and it came to mind for me, was the script. You even said script. So if your characters don't have a script, they'll be all over the place winging it. And as a result, the other players will not know what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. And so having the stage directions and knowing when the curtain is supposed to drop and when this set comes out makes such a difference in a business. It's having all of those components in place so that when the audience does show up and that you are delivering your performance, that the audience actually can receive in the highest possible way, and that you are expressing in the most perfect way that you can, the most effective way that you can, so that it's received in the most full way, you know?
Okay.
All right, well, I'm going to see if there's anything else here. Did you have any other question?
None that I can think of right now.
Okay. All right, then. Well, I'm going to just give you the details so that you have them. It is now September 25th, 2014. This will be effective. This is the 10-week training module. So this 10-week Get Your Business Center Stage Mastermind. It's a group program. I am limiting it to a handful of people. It is $700 starting October 1st. We will launch pretty much that. You can come in a little bit late. I'm recording everything, so if you don't start immediately on October 1st, you can start a little bit later. Until September 30th at 11:59, I am offering it for $400 off, so it's $300 from now until September 29th, the end of the day. On October 1st, then it's $700. And that's the 10 weeks with me. You're doing 16 modules. 4 of those are Q&A calls. They're 90-minute Q&A calls. There are 4 specific mastermind calls, as I described it in this. And then there are the idea parties and the training modules that we will be going through. You will also get the worksheets. You will also get regular emails from me to go through the process of getting your statistics there, actually graphing your cash flow and your clients. And it may be different for everybody. Your clients may look different, but what we want is we want to see where you are when you started and where you are when you finished. Because we all, if we have the mountain, if we can see the mountain, we'll go towards the mountain. If we can't see the mountain, we're going to go everywhere else but the mountain, right? We're going to be all over the place. And that's really key to having a successful group coaching program for me. I don't do this where everybody gets to go and do whatever they want to do. Now, I'm not holding your hand every step of the way. You're doing the work. But I want to see that you're doing the work. So there's an accountability factor, but there's not a lot of hand-holding like you would get with me one-on-one as a private client. So I wanted to offer this to a small group of people, and there it is, right on time. It is wrapping it up at 7:30. I will leave this video up and available to those of you that weren't able to make it this evening. And if you are interested, make sure you let me know. You'll send me a direct email at stefana@stefanajohnson.com, mastermind in the subject line, and then we will get on a call. You and I, we will set up a time to talk, just a few moments to wrap up anything else and to see if it's a good fit for both of us. All right. Happy solstice. Peace and blessings.